Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Dr. Henry. I want to present to you a series that's coming up called MAGA's Origins, the Obama Backlash. This series is inspired by recent events in American politics, Donald Trump becoming the 47th United States president. So there's a lot to talk about. One of the things I want to do as an intellectual historian, philosopher, and political scientist is discuss what is going on, particularly how did the United States get here. Okay, so here is where we are, Donald Trump being the president of the United States. That didn't come out of nowhere. Okay, there is a genealogy of ideas. There's a sociology of people, demographics that led us here, and a whole basket of things. But for now, I want to talk a little bit about what this series is going to entail, and this is just an introduction so that you all can be aware of it, and I hope you participate with it. So the way we're going to get into this is by addressing this question here: what is the origin of Donald Trump and MAGA? And the way we're going to address this question is by looking at some of the literature, some of the research, some of the expressions that people have delivered unto the country about how they're feeling about the state of affairs. And that gets us into some interesting territory. So if we look on at the book called The Obama Phenomenon, that book there is a great book because it talks about the impact of Obama's presidency. And not just the impact, let me add, it also shows what allowed for President Barack Obama to be successful in all that it represents. And as you can see in the subtitle of that book, The Obama Phenomenon Toward a Multiracial Democracy, the main thing is that President Barack Obama sort of pierced the white American bubble in politics. And as we know, prior to Obama, presidents have basically been white men. And this book is it's a collection of several essays, and it's written by people from different disciplines. And they're talking about what Obama's presidency and his election represented along the lines of Black history, multiracial dynamics, and the sort. The next book is called The Backlash, Right-Wing Radicals, High-Def Hucksters, and Paranoid Politics in the Age of Obama. And this book gets into the response to Barack Obama's election. I should say the reaction. Many people were not happy, as we know. They were pissed off. Why were they pissed off? Why were they unhappy? Will Bunch is an investigative journalist who went around the country talking to people and letting them express themselves about why they didn't like President Barack Obama's victory. This collection of anecdotes, and I should say this book was published in 2010, and the collection of anecdotes up to 2010, we actually get a mention of Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is actually projected here in this text for very interesting reasons. And I feel like this book is very fitting for us to examine, to understand, like, how in the world does Obama's election connects with Donald Trump's presidency? And The Backlash would give us that. And I don't want to spoil much. Now, let's move on. The Manchurian President is a book written by people who disdain Obama and saw Obama as a threat to the American way. They basically have alleged secrets about Obama being a communist, as you can see in the subtitle here, The Manchurian President, Barack Obama's ties to communists, socialists, and other anti-American extremists. And that says it all. And so some people had believed that Obama was sent here to destroy America from within. And a lot of people ran with that to the point where the birther movement was, mentioning that basically accusing Obama of not really being an American citizen, which was part of Trump's claim to fame. But leave that as it may. This book is an example of those who dislike Obama speaking for themselves, right? And we will pretty much see what that rhetoric was like, and now in hindsight match that with the things that Obama actually did. And why that's important because of perspective, right? This is not really a scholarly text. This is a text that's written by people who are representing their American views. The next book is a scholarly text, like the first, which is called Post-Racial or Most Racial, Race and Politics in the Obama Era. This book was published in 2016. This book shows us that the voting patterns were pretty much guided by people's understanding of race. Race played a huge part in getting people to select one president over another, particularly Donald Trump. And it makes the case that, listen, Obama did not usher in an age of post-racial politics. In fact, Obama himself was nothing but gasoline squirted all over the country. And that gasoline was lit on fire. It was a match was struck and thrown into that gasoline, and racism went rampant, right? And so, in other words, American politics filled with identity politics, and much of the motivators for people deciding on who to pick, particularly against Obama, was connected to race, right? The motivations were connected to race. And this book is a scholarly text that examine polls and data that allows us to see people's reasoning and rationale. All right. So we're going to go through these 4 books in this lecture series. I'm going to discuss each chapter in every book, starting with the Obama phenomenon. We're going to go through every chapter, and what I'm going to do is excavate the key ideas and research so that you can see, what can be meaningful to our understanding of how we got here, and perhaps discuss where do we go from here, depending on where you are on the political spectrum. All right, so stay tuned for more. I'm going to be getting ready for part 1, essentially, of the MAGA's Origins lecture series. And we'll make it available here on YouTube, and I will have more goodies, more research on Patreon. So if you want to support this adventure, feel free to hit me up and support on Patreon to get more details. All right. It's about getting that education. It's about understanding our society, our history, and all that good stuff. So I want to thank everybody for tuning into this. This is your boy, Dr. Henry, and I'll be back with more. All right. Peace and love.